Welcome to Speaking of Entrepreneurship, a podcast powered by the Center for Entrepreneurs at Cuyahoga Community College's Corporate College. Here, we dive into real conversations with industry experts, innovative founders, and business leaders who share their insights, challenges, and strategies for success. Whether you're launching a startup, scaling your business, or just exploring the entrepreneurial mindset, this is your space to learn, adapt, and thrive.
Welcome to Corporate Conversations. My name is Heather Holmes-Dillard, principal at Raven, a national public affairs and strategic communications firm committed to making connections, solving problems, and inspiring change. Here with me today is Miss Yelitsa-Jean Charles, founder and CEO of Healthy Root Dolls. And Miss Yelitsa is a member of the 2021 class of Forbes 30 Under 30, where in her profile it reads, while studying illustration at Rhode Island School of Design, Yelitsa-Jean Charles offered her own twist on Rapunzel, redesigning the Disney princess as a brown girl with curly, natural hair. It was a type of doll that she wished she had as a child because it looked like her. After raising $500,000 from Backstage Capital and others, she launched Healthy Roots Dolls in 2019 with her first doll, Zoe, whose hair can be washed and styled, helping young girls learn to style their own hair. I have to say, my daughter was gifted a Zoe doll in 2020, and she was 2 years old at the time. So one can only imagine what Zoe looks like today.
Well loved.
Right, well loved. Maybe a little cut, maybe a little bob. So yes, Yelitsa, welcome. I hear you're a Detroit native.
No.
Oh, oops. Where are you from?
I live in Detroit.
You live in Detroit.
I'm from New York.
You're from New York.
And I have all the respect for Detroiters, which is why I always clarify that.
Okay.
Nothing but respect for the city.
Is this your first time to Cleveland?
No, I think it's like my fourth or fifth time.
Well, welcome back to Cleveland.
Thank you.
Yelitsa, welcome back. Tell me about your journey to Healthy Roots. Go.
I feel like you just talked about it.
Okay, well.
I don't even remember writing that bio. But yeah, it started as a class project and then just grew from there with the support of my community, and by pursuing entrepreneurship, it just grew very organically from that idea to self-funding with crowdfunding to getting the prototype out there, getting feedback from customers, and getting the final version out, partnerships. It's a whole lot of information.
We're going to unpack all of that, but I am most interested in your journey from art design school. Because I have some experience with art design school. And so there I know you're taught that design is in everything, right? And so I read that you really started in design school studying illustration, right?
Yes.
So how did your experience and exposure at art school lead you from illustration into toy making?
I went to art school because I always felt like if you have a particular talent that you've discovered early, you might as well at least pursue it and see how far you can get with it. And my parents wanted me, I'm the child of Haitian immigrants, they know doctors, they know lawyers, they don't know artists. And for me, I was like,
feeling it.
They wasn't feeling it. They was like, where are you going? I've never heard of this school. It's not Harvard, it's not Yale. What is that? And so the only reason why I went to art school is because I got into the best art school. I was like, okay, well, if they think I should be there, I might as well try. So I went there with this passion for illustration and storytelling, which was apparent in a lot of the things I'd done as a kid, from how much I was reading, writing my own stories, things like that. And while I was there, I got really passionate about social issues. I cared about these things before, but there were things that I had learned that magnified it for me, and unpacking my experiences as a Black woman in America, and that infiltrated my artwork and became a lot of the things that I talked about: beauty standards, socioeconomic things, so things about wealth distribution, things like that. And I decided that adults kind of suck and kids are kind of great, so I'm going to talk to the kids. And that's how I ultimately ended up focusing on children's media, and then taking that class project where I redesigned Rapunzel and turned her into this little brown girl, and saw it as an opportunity to pursue making a doll.
With beautiful hair like yours, I'm obsessing over your hair right now. So tell me, you displayed, your first prototype in school. Take me from that to the Zoe that we now see on shelves of Target, Macy's. Like, what does that process look like for somebody who may also be interested in?
Yeah, I think my company was kind of started out of spite. I don't really do well when people tell me I can't do something. Like, most of my art projects were like the teacher telling me this isn't realistic. I was like, well, let me do it and find out how realistic it is. So in that class, it was called 3D illustration. I took that fairy tale character, redesigned her, and in one of the sessions we had, one of my classmates was pushing back on critique that they were getting, that another student was getting on their work, because they said it is not our responsibility as art students to be socially aware or responsible. And I was like, that's exactly...
You're like, challenge accepted.
That's exactly our responsibility. What are you talking about? And so... from there, I took that conversation online with the what soon became the prototype, and was asking my friends, and realized, hey, a lot of us Black women, a lot of us girls of color never really had dolls that looked like us growing up. They didn't have our noses. They didn't have our lips. They were just the same mold painted brown with straight hair.
I'm the Black Barbie generation. Yes. Yeah.
So great dolls. I think the dolls are great, but the variety wasn't there. And so I saw that as an opportunity to impact children, because I thought about my experiences growing up, and I had been talking about beauty standards and how that had impacted my self-perception of myself. So the fact that, like, I didn't know how to do my hair until I was 20 years old. And, like, I watched one of my friends cut off all her hair and start her natural hair journey. I was like, whoa, you can do that? Oh, that's cool. Cool. So that was a lot of the foundation for me being inspired to start the doll company. And then I got an email from my university about a fellowship program where they would sponsor you, give you $4,000 to work on a social impact idea for the summer. And I was like, is this a social impact idea? Let's find out. And that's where I implemented this advice that I give a lot of people: just don't say no before you can say yes. Like, I talked to the program director before I decided it wasn't possible. And she said, apply. So I did research. I learned about the Mamie Clark doll test. I learned about how toys influence how kids think, act, and see themselves. I looked at the toys that were in the market at the time. And I saw an opportunity to combine my experience of learning how to love my hair with dolls, which are social learning tools, to teach girls how to learn to love their hair.
So this wasn't a happy accident. This just wasn't a design project and somebody liked it and, oh, now we're in Target. Like, no, you actually did the work.
I did the work.
You did the work. That's awesome. So take me through, how, especially coming out of school, right? How does one seek financing, and capital, and raise these kind of funds to, manufacture and produce these dolls at scale?
I think the best financing and the best capital is revenue and customers. So finding an audience that's going to connect with the product that you have, and you can do crowdfunding campaigns, you can build an MVP, you can do pre-orders, because what you need is to find product market fit. And while you can raise venture capital for that, depending on the industry that you're in, nothing's going to beat actually having customers that can become brand advocates. The other thing that I did was, like I mentioned, with my school providing me with a scholarship or sponsorship to do it, there are pitch competitions everywhere. $5,000, $10,000, $25,000, $100,000. I actually won $125,000 in a grant from the Detroit Demo Day pitch competition. That's how I funded a lot of my early days, with getting the product developed, learning about marketing, learning to finding product market fit, building the website.
Doesn't even know what that is.
Yeah.
Like, what is product market fit? Okay, yeah.
So that's how I pursued financing. So it was as simple as talking to people at events and figuring out what programs they might know of, and Googling things like scholarships and grants for Black female founders.
So tell me about your team. Assuming when you first started, like, it was yourself. So how has the team grown?
I was a team of one until 2020. And I feel like that was really valuable because I had the knowledge of all the different parts, so I knew how things needed to be done in order to work. So I understood the website, I understood running ads, I understood, to a degree, operations and product development and working with the manufacturer. So when I then went on to hire people, I had more context of what I was looking for in team members. And so now we have a lot of contractors and freelancers that we work with, in marketing, ops.
I've been fangirling out on your TikTok. I said that before you sat down. I think you're doing great. I think the authenticity and the organic nature of your story just resonated for me from day one. Once I discovered Yelitsa and Zoe, tell me, or tell listeners who are just starting their entrepreneurship journey, how important that storytelling element is. You mentioned that before. Like, how important is it to have a backstory?
Always be closing.
To launching a new product. Okay.
Always be closing. Always tell your story. I think people get really scared because they want to be perfect first, but you don't get to perfection without doing the work. And so my first pitch competition, I came in third place and I got a $250 check. My last pitch competition, I won $125,000 and I came in first place. And those were 4 to 5 years apart. Okay. And I didn't stop. I use that as motivation to keep going. So I always tell people, don't say no before you can say yes, but you also have to do the work. So it's not enough to have your idea, but you have to actually write down your goals and then figure out how you get from point A to point B. And that's by having conversations with people, by finding people that you can learn from, listening to podcasts.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know how helpful that is.
I mean, it's helpful. Tell me, what is your dream for your company? I mean, it's a fairly new company, right? So what is the dream 5, 10 years from now?
I think I've always described it as seeing girls in the wild with their dolls. I personally have not seen anyone in the wild. People I know have seen people in the wild. I've never seen it.
I'm gonna send some pictures this evening. You. Okay, keep going.
And then the other part is the same way when I was in college, I was commiserating with other girls about the fact that we never had dolls that look like us. 10, 20 years from now, I want girls talking about, like, I also had this Zoe doll, and here's this picture of the hairstyle I did. I want it to have that long-lasting impact on that next generation.
That's amazing. So tell me, in your journey, because you're still very young, and I'm like very proud.
I'm almost 30.
I'm very proud. Well, ma'am. Okay,
that's an adult.
Yes. What is some of the most impactful advice that you have been given in these last few years since you began your journey?
You can't do everything yourself. You need to ask for help. I just came back from this Building a Successful Diverse Business program at Tuck University, Tuck School of Business at Dartmouth. Okay. And they gave me so many nuggets, but I think the biggest thing that I took away from that program was customers and the relationship your business has with your customers. So you've talked about, like, authenticity. You've talked about, and they talk a lot about, like, communication, like, storytelling, yeah. Storytelling. Those things are really, really important to me. And so I think it's really building your audience. You have to, like, get in front of people and talk and be honest and authentic and never lie and, ask for help.
Because your passion shines through.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely comes through.
And you also learn from people. People can give you feedback. And that's how we launched that first doll, which was a couple hundred units. And then people were like, oh, we want the limbs to rotate around. Or, like, what if it did this? And we're like, okay, let's go back.
Because now there's more. Zoe has friends.
She has friends.
There's more products in this line. Yeah.
So I think what I want people to focus more on definitely is figuring out their goals. I think it's really easy to say, like, I have this idea and, like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not getting any progress on it, but you didn't write anything down and figure out how you actually get to that point.
Yeah, executing.
People will ask, like, okay, how do I get into Target? You're not asking me the right question. How do I build a brand that connects with customers so that I can get into Target because I have so much demand and I successfully sold this many units? Like, there's a bunch of stuff in between that.
How hard was the pitch to a Target, though?
I didn't pitch Target.
They came to you because you had it all together. See, you're dropping nuggets. I read in another article, an Essence article, you mentioned the positive impact that finding your tribe has made on your business.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
Okay. So can you tell us real quick, how should entrepreneurs leverage their tribes effectively?
So this is something I also experienced at the program I just went to, because we were sponsored by Shea Moisture. They brought 10 other Black female founders, and we were like, now we have a group chat, and like we're sharing ideas. And so in 2017 to 2019, I connected with so many other founders, and having those people who shared the same challenges I had, like I could just talk to them and be like, this is hard. Or like, look at this win. Or where are you going to Essence Fest? Let's hang out. And like sharing ideas. That you need people that are on that same journey so that you can grow together. And because they're going to be the best resources, and you can be a resource to them as well. So fine, because like
Goosebumps, please can I be in the friend group chat? Thank you. Yes.
But yeah, because like your mom's not going to know anything about 3PLs and Facebook ads, and who are you going to talk to? You need someone to talk to.
Yeah. Well, let's, in the close, tell me, because you mentioned about how this started, and your first award for money was around creating a product that was socially conscious. What does it mean to be socially responsible to you?
Ooh.
It's a very deep question.
I don't think I can answer that because I don't have enough time. Well,
I think you said it. I think you said, when you looked at the need, the gap, when you looked at the impact it could have on little girls.
I think that's the answer. For me, because I feel like with any work that I do, it's always going to be about what my ultimate goal in life is. And for me, that's liberating Black women through education and financial means. And so for me, I look at designing children's products that empower young kids of all backgrounds to be the most beautiful version of themselves, the most confident version of themselves. They will go on to be great because they can't be anything other than that if you believe in yourself. So social impact can be a lot of things across different industries. It can be who you hire, your ethos at work, the way you build teams, the way you invest in your team members. It can be the products you design and the impact they have on your community, whether it's donating percentages of revenue back into your community, building corporations that do programming across your community. It can be in the way that you operate as a business. You could be a certified B Corp like Ben & Jerry's and commit to planting trees and reducing your imprint. So I think every company should have some type of social impact as a part of their brand mission. I can't tell people what that is, though. I know mine, though.
You know yours. All right. Well, thank you, Yelitsa. Please tell us how we can follow your journey.
You can follow me at the Yelitsa on Twitter and TikTok, and Yelitsa-Jean Charles on Instagram. I'm most active on LinkedIn, I think. And then Healthy Root Stalls at Healthy Root Stalls.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to today's podcast, brought to you by the Center for Entrepreneurs at Corporate College. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, rate, and share with fellow entrepreneurs. Tune back in to stay connected with us for more insights and resources to help you build, innovate, and thrive.